Welcome to the appendix, where we read the primary sources of the past so that you can better understand the present. Today's primary source, the Stamp Act, March 22nd, 1765. The reorganization of the empire, inaugurated in 1763, required the raising of additional revenue in the American colonies, and as early as 1764, Grenville announced his intention of introducing a Stamp Act. The colonial agents were given the opportunity to suggest alternative means of raising revenue, but though all of them protested against the stamp tax, they were unable to suggest any effective alternative. The Stamp Act passed Parliament with little opposition or attention. The debate on the bill was languid. The measure was designed to raise an additional £60,000, and the ministry optimistically hoped that it would arouse little opposition in the colonies. An act for granting and applying certain stamp duties and other duties in the British colonies and plantations in America, towards further defraying the expenses of defending, protecting, and securing the same, and for amending such parts of the several acts of Parliament relating to the trade and revenues of the said colonies and plantations, as direct the manner of determining and recovering the penalties and forfeitures therein mentioned. Whereas an act made in the last session of Parliament, several duties were granted, continued, and appropriated towards defraying the expenses of defending, protecting, and securing the British colonies and plantations in America. And whereas it is just and necessary that provisions be made for raising a further revenue within your Majesty's dominion in America towards defraying the said expenses, be it enacted that from and after November 1st, 1765, there shall be raised, levied, collected, and paid unto His Majesty, his heirs and successors, throughout the colonies and plantations in America, which now are, or hereafter may be, under the dominion of His Majesty, his heirs and successors. For every skin or piece of vellum, or parchment, or sheet or piece of paper, on which shall be engrossed, written, or printed, any declaration, plea, replication, rejoinder, demurrer, or other pleading, or any copy thereof, in any court of law within the British colonies and plantations in America, a stamp duty of 3 pence. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any donation, presentation, collation, or institution of, or to any benefice, or any writ or instrument for the like purpose, or any register, entry, testimonial, or certificate of any degree taken in any university, academy, college, or seminary of learning, a stamp duty of 2 pounds. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any note or bill of landing, which shall be signed for any kind of goods, wares, or merchandise to be exported from, or any crocket or clearance granted within the said colonies and plantations, a stamp duty of 4 pence. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any grant, appointment, or admission of or to any public, beneficial, office, or employment for the space of 1 year, or any lesser time, or of above the value of 20 pounds per annum sterling, money in salary, fees, and perquisites, except commissions and appointments of officers of the Army, Navy, Ordnance, or Militia, of judges, and of justices of the peace, a stamp duty of 10 shillings. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any license for retailing of spirituous liquors to be granted to any person who shall take out the same, a stamp duty of 20 shillings. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any probate of a will, letters of administration, or of guardianship, for any estate above the value of 20 pounds sterling money, within the British colonies and plantations upon the continent of America, the islands belonging thereunto, and the Bermuda and Bahama Islands, a stamp duty of 5 shillings. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any bond for securing the payment of any sum of money, not exceeding the sum of 10 pounds sterling money, within the British colonies and plantations upon the continent of America, the islands belonging thereto, and the Bermuda and Bahama Islands, a stamp duty of 6 pence. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any order or warrant for surveying or settling out any quality of land not exceeding 100 acres, issued by any governor, proprietor, or any public officer alone, or in conjunction with any other person or persons, or with any council and assembly within the British colonies and plantations in America, a stamp duty of 6 pence. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any such original grant, by which any quality of land not exceeding 100 acres shall be granted within all other parts of the British dominions in America, a stamp duty of 3 shillings. Further provisions for larger grants. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any grant, appointment, or admission of or to any public beneficial office or employment, not herein before charged above the value of 20 pounds per annum sterling money in salary, fees, and perquisites, or any exemplification of the same within the British colonies and plantations upon the continent of America, the islands belonging thereto, and the Bermuda and Bahama Islands, except commission of officers of the Navy, Army, Ordnance, or Militia, of justices of the peace, a stamp duty of 4 pounds. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any indenture, lease, conveyance, contract, stipulation, bill of sale, charter, party, protest, articles of apprenticeship, or covenant, except for the hire of servants, not apprentices, and also except such other matters as are herein before charged, within the British colonies and plantations in America, a stamp duty of 2 shillings and 6 pence. For every skin on which shall be engrossed any notarial act, bond, deed, letter of attorney, procuration, mortgage, release, or other obligatory instrument, not hereinbefore charged, a stamp duty of 2 shillings and 3 pence. And for and upon every pack of playing cards, and all dice which shall be sold or used, the several stamp duties following. This is to say, for every pack of cards, the sum of 1 shilling, for every pair of such dice, the sum of 10 shillings, and for and upon every paper, commonly called a pamphlet, and upon every newspaper, and for and upon such advertisements as are herein after mentioned, the respective duties falling, that is to say, for every such pamphlet and paper contained in half a sheet, or any lesser piece of paper, a stamp duty of 1/2 penny for every printed copy thereof. For every such pamphlet and paper, being larger than half a sheet, and not exceeding 1 whole sheet, a stamp duty of 1 penny for every printed copy thereof. For every pamphlet and paper being larger than the whole sheet, and not exceeding 6 sheets in octavo, or in a lesser page, or not exceeding 12 sheets in quarto, or 20 sheets in folio, a duty after the rate of 1 shilling for every sheet of any kind of paper which shall be contained in the printed copy thereof. For every advertisement to be contained in any gazette, newspaper, or other, or any pamphlet a duty of 2 shillings, for every almanac or calendar, for any one particular year, or for any time less than a year, which shall be written or printed on one side only, of an 1 sheet, skin, or piece of paper, parchment, or vellum, a stamp duty of 2 pence. For every other almanac or calendar, for any one particular year, a stamp duty of 4 pence. And for every almanac or calendar written or printed to serve for several years, duties the same amount respectively shall be paid for every such year. For every skin on which any instrument, proceeding, or another matter or thing aforesaid shall be engrossed in any other than the English language, a stamp duty of double the amount of the respective duties before charged thereon. 2. And also a duty of 1 shilling for every 20 shillings in any sum exceeding 50 pounds, which shall be given, paid, contracted, or agreed for, with or in relation to any such clerk or apprentice. 5. And be it further enacted that all books and pamphlets serving chiefly for the purpose of an almanac, by whatsoever name or names intituled or described, are and shall be charged with the duty imposed by this act on almanacs, but not with any of the duties charged by this act on pamphlets or other printed papers. 6. Provided always that this act shall not charge any bills of exchange, accompts, bills of parcels, bills of fees, or any bills or notes not sealed for payment of money at sight, or upon demand, or at the end of certain days of payment. 12. Be it further enacted that the said several duties shall be under the management of the commissioners for the time being of the duties charged on stamp, vellum, parchment, and paper in Great Britain, and the said commissioners are hereby empowered and required to employ such officers under them for that purpose as they shall think proper. 16. And be it further enacted that no matter or thing whatsoever by this act charged with the payment of a duty shall be pleaded or given in evidence, or admitted in any court within the said colonies and plantations to be good, useful, or available in law or equity, unless the same shall be marked or stamped in pursuance of this act, with the respective duty hereby charged thereon, or with a higher duty. 54. And be it further enacted that all the monies which shall arise by the several rates and duties hereby granted, except the necessary charges of raising, collecting, recovering, answering, paying, and accounting for the same, and the necessary charges from time to time incurred in relation to this act, and the execution thereof, shall be paid into the receipt of His Majesty's exchequer, and shall be entered separate and apart from all other monies, and shall be there reserved to be from time to time disposed of by Parliament towards further defraying the necessary expenses of defending, protecting, and securing the said colonies and plantations. 57. Offenses committed against any other acts or acts of Parliament relating to the trade or revenues of the said colonies or plantations shall and may be prosecuted, sued for, and recovered in any court of record or in any court of admiralty in the respective colony or plantation where the offense shall be committed, or in any court of vice-admiralty appointed or to be appointed, and which shall have jurisdiction within such colony, plantation, or place, which courts of admiralty or vice-admiralty are hereby respectively authorized and required to proceed here and determine the same, at the election of the informer or prosecutor. Thank you for joining us for our primary source today on the appendix. We will see you in the stacks.